Hola, hi. My name is María Eugenia Semprún y pero que estoy hablando en español. Hi, my name is María Eugenia Semprún and I am going to interview María Murillo. She's from Venezuela. Hi María, how are you?
Hi, Eugenia.
María, where were you born?
I was born in Venezuela.
In what city?
Oh, what city? In Cumaná. It's a small city on the east side of Venezuela, on the coast.
Okay, and how long have you been living here in United States and in Boulder?
Well, I got to Colorado about 18 years ago,
And in
most of the time in Boulder.
In Boulder. Okay. Can you tell me about your country of origin, please? Where is?
So, well, first it's in South America, the northern part of South America, right on the Caribbean. So we have a lot of coastal area. We speak Spanish. It's got a very diverse as far as areas. I don't know how much you want to know.
What about the climate and the landscape? Can you tell us about the climate and the landscape?
Okay.
And you was in Cumaná, which is in the coast. You can tell about this city if you want.
Yeah, compared to Colorado, we have a very different climate. It's very mild all year. We don't really have seasons, except like maybe a rainy season and a dry season. So the climate is kind of stable. It's not like we don't have snow and since like or summer, but it's kind of in between summer and spring all year round. The landscape, it's a lot of diversity. We have very high mountains in the Andes. We have the coastal area, like my hometown is right on the beach, and one thing I miss being in Colorado, that we're so far from the coast. We have the plains, we have jungle in the Amazon near Brazil. We have big rivers, we have sand dunes, big ones. We have an area called La Gran Sabana, which is flatbed mountains called tepuis. It's a very pretty area. We have a big city, Caracas, which is now probably 7 million people in it, so it's pretty big. And we have some other smaller cities, and most of them are on the coastal area. Population, I'm not sure what it is now, but about 30 millions, maybe 25, 30 millions.
Yes. And for you, which is the most beautiful place in your country for you?
That's a very hard question because we got so many beautiful areas. So like I mentioned before, we have La Gran Sabana, which is a beautiful area. It's very untouched. It's mostly just habited by the indigenous people. So there's no cities or anything like that. So it's very pretty, green, lots of waterfalls, and so you just go there and camp. There's the mountains, which some of them have a little bit of snow, but they're very high. Like the highest is about 5,000 meters, or 5 kilometers. And that's in the Andes area with beautiful small towns on the mountains, on the hillsides. Then we have beautiful beaches like in Margarita Island, in Los Roques. It's blue waters, white sand, really nice, a lot of marine life. So yeah, it's hard to pick one area.
Yes, it's like a paradise.
Right.
And about the costume, would you please describe a costume that you think is most representative of your culture?
So for me, growing up there, because I did grow up there, is the time of December when we have Christmas and we have New Year's, and it's a big celebration both days, and it's a family tradition. So the families get together New Year's Eve and the Christmas Eve, and we eat special food that is not typical of the rest of the year, but it's typical of us. And one is hallacas, which is something sort of similar to tamales, but it's a lot more involved. And so we all gather together, eat hallacas and ham and pork and salad, and drink ponche crema, which is a native drink from Venezuela. And then we share toys or gift with the family and listen to special music that is typical of that time of the year.
Can you tell about a little bit about the hallaca and which is the difference with tamales?
So I guess the dough is a lot thinner than the tamales. It's very thin, kind of shell around it, and then inside stuffed with a lot of things, and it's kind of heavy. I mean, an hallaca you could eat and take you for like a whole week. So, and people put inside, depending on the families, on the area of the country, but differences, but usually pork and chicken and meat and a lot of different like kind of veggie type of things. Tomato, pepper, things like that. So it takes a lot of effort to put it all together. And then they wrap it with plantain leaves, and you could keep it in the fridge for quite a few, even weeks. And then you just boil it in water and eat it.
Okay. And when you lived in Venezuela, you work?
Yeah, I actually started, which is not very, well, it depends, I guess, where you grew up and things like that, but I moved to Caracas, which is the capital, and during my last year of high school, or I think the last year of high school and maybe the year after also, I worked in a toy store just during Christmas time. So it was a very short period, but some kind of student
And another
type of
job?
work. And then after that, well, I started going to school there, like college, and I did work for the subway company, not the subway sandwiches, the metro, we call it there. So I'm helping them with data, manipulating data and putting it in the computer and things like that. And then I moved to Margarita Island, which I really enjoy, and I work for an agency that's related to the Secretary of Agriculture. That would be the relation. So also kind of helping them bookkeeping and things like that. And then after I graduated from college, I worked for a research institute for the oil companies.
And
That
you
is
are,
a government.
I understand that you are a teacher, no?
Now here, yes,
Ah.
here in Boulder, but not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when and why did you decide to come to the United States?
So then, when I was working in this government agency research center, at that time I got married. I had my 2 children. I just had them, and then which is now my ex-husband. But at that time when we were married, he got a scholarship from the government to come and study here.
In
So
Colorado.
he was going to Colorado School of Mines in Golden, and then very short time after we got here, since we're already kind of falling apart, so we got separated, and then I applied to the University of Colorado here in Boulder, and I got admitted to one of their graduate programs. So I moved to Boulder with my 2 kids at that time.
And this is the reason that you choose Boulder, huh?
Right.
Okay.
And then I live in family housing, CU family housing, and it was a great experience for the kids and for myself.
What were your first impression of Boulder?
Well, being in the university, so I got to know a lot of people, but mostly were Americans at that time. But I felt they were all very welcoming. The town looked really clean and safe. I could let my kids go and play and bike around the family housing, and I didn't worry too much about it, which I could never do like that in Caracas. So that felt really nice, and just like everything seemed to work.
Yes. And how do you feel about Boulder now?
I still feel the same. I think in these many years, the traffic has gotten worse, but it's nothing compared to the traffic in Caracas, so it's still not too bad. But it has changed, and the city has grown a little bit in all these years. But I still feel the same, like it's still very safe. If people are welcoming and friendly, and I just wish there were a little more diversity, but other than that, I'm happy.
What are your favorite things to do in Boulder?
I love Chautauqua. I love to go hiking. I try to go hiking a few times a week if I can, when I have time. So I just love to hike in that area. I love that we have the sun most days in the year. And I like Pear Street Mall. I like to go to the St. Julian and listen to the music and dance. I guess those are my favorites, and meet my friends too.
And about your friends? Can you tell me something about your friends here in Boulder?
Yeah, so it has changed a little bit. And when I was at CU, then I had the friends that were going to school with me, and a few people that live in family housing. But for the most part, the long-lasting relationship has been mainly, surprisingly, foreigners, and mainly people that speak Spanish also. But I do have a few American friends, but large majority, I would say, more like foreigners than Americans. But it's still some, and some of them I got to know because of my kids, and then they were parents of their friends while they were going to school, and so we kind of grew together pretty much. I mean, also our children grow together. So that lasted for a few years, and I still stay in touch with some of them. And the same with some of my friends from CU, and other friends that I met along the way, and sometimes just because we know that each other, that, oh, you're from Venezuela, or you are from Mexico, and then we start talking and then become friends.
And when you are not in Boulder, do you miss Boulder?
But yeah, for me, I mean, I have my home here now, my job, and my kids are very established here. They also already college age, and they have jobs here, and so this is sort of home. In a sense, this is home for us now, but we still feel a little bit attached to Venezuela anyways. So
What do you miss about Venezuela?
the food, I'm a very terrible cook, so I like that there it was easy to find somebody to sometimes make meal for you or invite you over or something, and it's different from typical American food. So that's one thing. I miss the water, the ocean, the Caribbean a lot, because I love to. I mean, I grew up going to the beach almost, every vacation I had. Spring break, which was more like Holy Week, and summer and Christmas, all the time we were going to the beach. So I miss that very much. And the food and some of the places, but mostly the food and the water, the ocean.
The smell of the ocean.
Yeah.
How did you know about the library? And what does it mean for you?
Well, I've actually been particularly to this library since it's the one close to CU since my kids were little, and I used to take them or bring them here to sometimes read books or check out books or some of the activities sometimes that they offer mainly for children. I used to bring them over here, and then we got used to coming here, and we just keep coming every now and then. Now it's more like I come for myself, and I like to borrow books that are written in Spanish. It's just easier for me to read in Spanish, and I wish the collection would be a little bigger, but every now and then I find a book that I haven't read, so I try to borrow it.
Do you feel that Boulder is a home to you, and why? You told me about that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much it's sort of like a mixed feeling, because you feel like I said, people are very welcoming, but it's funny that you still feel like a foreigner, even though you've been here for many years. And it's interesting that every time I meet somebody new that doesn't know me, they hear my accent, and the first thing they think I'm a European, and they never think I'm Latin American, and it's like, that tells me like sometimes people are, I don't want to use the word ignorant because it doesn't sound good, but it's sort of like they don't know what the diversity that we have in South America too. So they think like everybody is the same there, but we're not. I mean, we have all different kind of people everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that makes me feel like, people here very friendly and very welcoming, but don't know what's the world outside here sometimes.
But it's still a home for you.
But definitely home, yeah. And I have my job here, and I mean, I've been all these years, and I had opportunities to move out, and I didn't want to.
And is there anything else you like to talk about?
Yeah, well, like I was just saying, I finished school at CU, and then I got job offers elsewhere, like some in New Mexico and California, and I took the children with me. We went to visit. I love to travel, so that was an opportunity to see other places. But we just decided, no, we don't want to move out of Boulder.
Mhm.
My kids went to, now that they're college age, they both left Boulder. I want to be far away, and I want to be away from my mom and all. And not even a year later, they wanted to come back, and they're here now. So Boulder, that have that big attraction that is hard to leave.
And right now, are you working here in Boulder?
So I've been working in Boulder for a few years now. I'm now a teacher in high school, a math teacher. So math has always been my strength. And I started working in Longmont, or San Fran School District, for like 5 years, and then I moved to the Boulder Valley School District, and I've been working here for a few years now, and I really enjoy it.
You enjoy
I
it?
love working with the students and also with the parents. Like if I get a chance to talk to the parents, then
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Maria.
okay. Well,
We finish.
thank you for inviting me.